Hey, my friends, if you're looking for a faster, a better way to grow and scale your landscape business, you likely don't need to join just another free Facebook group or watch another YouTube video. What you need is a proven, cohesive growth strategy for your business, along with the one on one coaching or group coaching and accountability to support you every step of the way. And that's exactly what the Million Dollar Academy delivers to you. The Million Dollar Academy is coaching, tools, accountability, and done for you resources for landscapers who want to take the guesswork out of scaling and growing towards a profitable multiple six, even seven figure plus business without all the stress and all the hours of agonizing of how do I get everything done? Or am I doing this right? Or what do I need to focus on next? The Million Dollar Academy is about thinking differently and thinking bigger about how to be a successful business owner. It's about more than just being good at landscaping. It's about how to create more profit and how to scale, all while relieving some of the pressure on yourself. We do have group and one on one coaching spots available. So if you want to go learn more, head over to milliondollarlandscaper.com/academy and get in there today.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com and for $100 off, mention the Million Dollar Landscaper podcast.
Welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper podcast. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Shannon Walsh. Shannon and her husband, James, have been on the show a couple times. Shannon is the owner of Premier Home Services and the creator of the EZBZ app. Now, Shannon is a converted corporate America desk jockey turned landscape lady, boss, and app developer. So welcome, Shannon. Thanks for being on the show again.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. It's good to be here. It's been a while, so nice to chit chat with you again.
Yeah, it's always great chatting. Can't speak today. Chatting.
That's like chatting and talking at the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always great to talk to you and always great to catch up. I know you've been super busy. You've done some pretty big changes in your landscape business and with the EZBZ app. So I'd love to just kind of catch up on a couple of things and refresh everybody's memory what EZBZ is all about.
Yeah, definitely. So EZBZ is a mobile work order app. So it's just a very simple way to make and edit work orders from wherever you're working. So it's great for lawn mowing businesses, snow plowing businesses, but it's also great for guys who are doing construction, like really anyone that has a crew out there that needs instructions of where to go and what to do on a job. It's just a very simple way and affordable way for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, we actually loved it. We actually used it in our landscaping business. Our mowing crew has used it all the time. So I can contest it. It's a great product and it's very simple. That's one thing I liked about it. It's a very affordable tool. So definitely go check it out.
Yeah, that was making sure that it was very easy to use, very easy to learn was super important to me because I have, some of your listeners know that I have lots of experience in the landscaping business, but some of the listeners might not. But I know what it's like to work in the field. I know what it's like to run a lawn mowing business. I know what it's like to run a landscaping business, a snow plowing business. Like I know that every single day you need a way to be able to effectively communicate with your crews of what's happening that day and then to be able to track it on the backside for billing, right? Like that's super important too. And you have very little time to be able to pay attention to these things. And it's arguably one of the most important things that needs to be done every day, because if the guys don't know where to go and what to do, how are you going to make any money?
Absolutely. The other thing I will say is if my parents can use it,
that's right.
Anybody can use it because it is very simple. Honestly, my parents are terrible with apps and trying to get them just to do it stuff on the computer has been like pulling teeth. It's been awful.
Yes.
So thank you for creating something very simple that Even my parents can
Yes.
do it.
Yes, Mrs. Molchan was a delight to work with. She picked it up very quickly. I did one little training session with her and she was fine from there on out. It
Yeah.
worked super well. And their lawn mowing business, their landscaping business was just the ideal EZBZ customer, of having those repeat customers every week where you have to remake the work order every week, and just making it so simple for your mom and for other people too, not just Mrs. Molchan, to just copy those routes over and over and over again, saved her so much time and paper. And I know what the work orders looked like before. I saw them, with the check boxes of what
Yep.
everybody was doing. And we just, um, that's why I say, if Scott's mom can use it,
Yeah.
anybody can use
Yeah,
it. And
that's
even the
right.
employees say, right, how easy it
Yeah.
is. It's so simple to learn. It's very intuitive.
Mhm.
It's nothing fancy. It's no
Yeah.
bells and whistles, but it's just the
It's what
right.
most landscapers need.
Right.
It
Yes. We're
is.
not
It
we're
is.
not fancy people. We can't
No.
have nice things, Scott. They get dirty, they
No.
break. We can't have nice
Yep.
things.
Yep. You're 100% right there. But no, again, I'd love to hear some of the updates. I know from the
Yeah.
last time we talked, you've done some updates to the app. You mind sharing with the audience a few of those things that you've done and added?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have multiple tiers of subscriptions. So depending on where someone is at in their business, we do have a free version that has some limited features, but you do get unlimited customers and unlimited users. So even if you're a new guy starting out and you don't really have the money right now, there is a free version available. Then there's one step up from there where then you just don't have to look at ads, which is nice. And then we have two more tiers. We have the free, the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And the silver, you get a little bit more. And with the gold, you get all the features plus a time clock is included. So you don't need a separate app or a separate way to keep track of employees clocking in and out for payroll. So that is included with the gold subscription. And that is just one of the biggest value adds that we have come up with so far. And that was really important to me because in the past, we had used T-Sheets, which is now QuickBooks Time. And I thought that was a great app. I was really happy with it, but it was like $50 a month and then like $5 per user on top of that. And I was just spending a lot of money for something that I was like, gosh, I really probably could just write this down on a piece of paper and save myself some money. So I wanted to give that value add to EZBZ customers of having this an affordable, simple way to have that time clock built right in, kind of goes hand in hand, right? You get to work, you check in, then they open their work order and they go to the job. The two things just make so much sense to go together. Some of the other things we've added are service items, which is just an easy way to track services provided for the same customers, especially in the summer if you have people doing fertilizer, lawn mowing, trimming and mosquito spraying, being able to differentiate which services were provided on which day just by pulling a simple report. And we've really added a lot to the reports as well. So any information that goes into EZBZ, we've come up with a way to spit that information back out in a quick, simple way so that you can send your bills, run your payroll, see if there are any comments on a job and get back to work. So you're not flipping through all these different papers and clipboards or customer calls when they get the bill and you have to go back 3 weeks to be like, what happened on that day? I don't know. We're really just trying to be able to provide a platform for landscapers in any field-based service business to just very easily, simply, affordably manage their work orders and now their time clock.
That's awesome. That's a huge feature to everybody listening. You don't need to have those multiple apps, or like you said, writing things down. It just makes it very simple. Have it all in one simple app. So now this app can be used on Android and Apple, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Apple, Android, and it's web-based. So
Okay.
literally anywhere that you are working, EZBZ can work. So if you're sitting at your desk, you can use your computer. If you're on your phone, you can use your phone or tablet. If you have a like a Microsoft Surface tablet, you can use the web version from that. So really wanted it to be accessible to everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially
Nice.
where everybody on the crew, this guy has an Android and this guy has an iPhone, and you never know what people have. So we had to make sure that it was
Nice.
easy to use, just
Yep.
easy,
Well,
simple.
as the name implies, easy peasy. So
Yes. Yeah.
perfect. Well, the one thing I wanted to have you on today, it kind of goes along in lines with your app, is to keep everything organized. Like you said, with
Mm,
all the reports and keeping things track of who's where who's what time it's supposed to be done, what time they started, all that great stuff. And I want to talk to you about being organized. This is something we haven't really, I don't think we've ever discussed on the show before. So I'm excited to have you on to share some of the insights of the things that you are doing and have done in your business to help
yeah.
create organization and just flow inside the business. Because I know many people, I've come across many desks, my father included, where I come in there and it's just a freaking pile of papers. And it drives me nuts. Like,
Yeah.
how do you find anything? You can't be
Yeah.
organized if it's like this.
Yes. Yes. My husband's desk is like that too.
Yep.
Is like that too. For me, like part of it is like that's just how my brain works. Like my brain craves that kind of structure and organization, but it also makes life a lot easier. The saying a place for everything and everything in its place is something I live by, but I've also really brought that into the landscaping business. So we have a rule on a job site that you pick one spot for hand tools, and that's where the hand tools go. So it doesn't matter if that is on the other side of the house. When you are done using that hard rake, you put it back where it's supposed to go, because how much time gets wasted where someone drops the hard rake and then they go to do something else, and then someone else is like, where's the hard rake, and they're like, oh, I don't know, or someone steps on it and smacks in the face. I've seen that happen before. It's just putting everything back, and then everything just moves faster because you know where everything is. And chances are, if you're putting the hard rake down, you're probably picking up a spade or a grub hoe or something else. So you're probably getting another tool. So it makes sense to be going back and forth rather than just everywhere, all over the place. And we've done the same with our yard space. We have a shipping container, we have a shed there, and I mean, some people might think it's a little excessive, but I've bought like the magnetic strips, and I have all these different ways to just keep things together. Of all the sockets for the ratchets, everything is just on a little magnetic thing, all the different sizes, no matter what they are. And the tools all go back in the same place. The stuff in the trailers, they have a hook. They all go on the same hook, the same time, same place every time. So it's never one, if something's missing very quickly. If it's not on the hook, you can figure out if something's missing. And two, it also helps to take care of the equipment. How many times have you seen a guy put a backpack blower on the floor of the trailer and the arm melts off the engine of the mower because they just like threw it in there? But if you have a hook for it on the wall, and we use the E-Tracks. Have you
Yep.
guys used the E-Tracks?
No, we don't have that brand, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, similar to that. And those things are great because they're designed for landscaping. So there's actually like a special hook for backpack blowers. And then I've got bungee cords. And so the arms get bungee cord up to the trailer. So they're not flying around. And we haven't had to buy a new arm for a melted backpack blower in a really long time. But for a while we did have a nice little graveyard of melted backpack blower
Oh yeah.
arms. I mean, those seem like little things, but they do make a big difference because it does save time and repairs and maintenance in the long run. I also like to have like one backup, at least one backup of everything. Not like, other than, 50-to-1 mix, I'm not buying anything in bulk, right? So it's like, if we have two things of windshield washer fluid, like we only need two. When you open the second one, then we get another one, right? So now we don't have stuff just everywhere, which, God bless my husband. He's a delight, but that's what ends up happening, right? Because you put something down here and then you don't find it, and then you go and buy more windshield washer fluid, and then there's more windshield washer fluid, but really it was there. It was just underneath something else. So having a place for everything and everything in its place, taking one weekend, just putting in the suck work and doing it, just cleaning things up, really, really makes a huge difference. Saves you a lot of time, and it will save you money in
Yeah.
the long run.
Yeah. Going back to even just like the equipment breaking,
Yeah.
because they didn't put it somewhere, they put it underneath, it fell down as underneath a piece of equipment and they run it over and break the handle.
Oh yeah.
Katie wrote a blog post about this. Like when we first started, the $1 Million Landscaper called it, I think it was called the $100 shovel, because that shovel doesn't just cost $20 or 25, $30, whatever it is now. It costs more because I have to drive there and go spend the time, and takes me
Right.
away from doing other things. So it's a
Yes.
lot more than just a $20, $30 shovel. So it's something
Oh,
that
absolutely.
we had to explain to our team, like it costs money, and well, it's only 20, $30. Yeah, that's 20, $30 you could have in your pocket because you broke, I got to spend time doing that. So there's a huge benefit to being organized.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't deduct broken
No.
equipment and stuff from employees. But one year, what I did was I had a mowing bonus. And so at the end of each month, I gave them a split between all of them 1% of the gross receipts, the gross revenue from mowing. But anything that was broken, any time that me or my husband had to spend either driving to go get something, or get something they forgot, or fix something, or replace something, I would deduct that from the total at the end of the month. And very quickly, 1 month of that, and those little trips stopped pretty quickly, because one, they were like looking at it, and two, it was affecting their bonus. And so that was the best way that I could figure out to have them recoup the loss of the stupid broken rakes and broken shovels, and stuff that
Well,
shouldn't break at all. Like sometimes, Scott, when you're like, how how did you do that? Walk me through it again, because physics and logic aren't in play here. So what
you
happened?
know, we're actually, before the podcast show today, Shannon and I were talking about some of the stupid things employees have done, and it's just amazing. Everybody has all their crazy stories, and I
Oh,
said
you
one day
can't
we
make
may have to do a podcast on that. So
Oh my gosh, you can't. Some of these things, you just can't make this stuff
no,
up. And
no,
just like, what? Oh, anyways,
but
um, another so a couple little other organizational tips and tricks that I have found. I don't know how, I meant to grab them before we started. So the Tubbo towels. Have you
Mhm.
used Tubbo towels?
Yep.
That is, if you have not used Tubbo towels, and I am not sponsored by them, but maybe I should be,
There you
you
go.
have to go get Tubbo towels. It cleans paint off of stuff. It cleans grease. It will clean your hands, and it's not like drying. I use those for everything. So I have those at the yard. I have those at my house, and you can clean you can, other than windows. I don't think you can clean glass or windows with them. But other than that, just having that one cleaning product instead of having like a whole um, array of cleaning products, that has been really helpful too, because stuff gets dirty. Stuff gets
It,
really,
it does.
really dirty.
It does. I keep a thing of them in my truck toolbox. That way, if I have to go talk to a customer, I can pull out, clean my hands off.
Your
It's
hands. Oh yeah.
got, got to be clean when you go talk to a customer. You got to
Oh,
be.
sure. Even, if you have a bunch of stuff, like even in your toolbox on your truck, and a bottle of oil spills and it gets just like goop on, you need your adjustable wrench or something and it's got all this stuff on it. The tub of towels cleans that right up. Those things are so great. Highly recommend. Those are available on Amazon, but I'm going to talk to them about sponsorship and just
There you go.
being a brand ambassador for tub of towels.
There you go. I guess the other thing too, I would just popped in my head is just the appearance to your customer when you pull up and things are organized. And, if they see the
Yes,
back of the trailer, if you have an enclosed trailer, how it's neat and organized, everything's got its spot. Just that image you portray to the customer says a lot about you and the business that you're running. So
absolutely.
again, it just being organized and showing off to the customer. I've come across some landscapers. You see the dash is just literally just covered in papers or
Right.
cigarette or cigarette packs or cans or bottles or whatever. It just
Oh yeah.
that that just says
Oh,
a lot to a customer.
absolutely. I bought these, they're like Ziploc bags, but not like sandwich Ziploc bags. They're a bit beefier, thicker plastic. And I wrote receipts on them. And every truck has one of these zipper pouches. So wherever the guys go, getting mulch for a job, getting gas, they just stick the receipts right in there, and it's either under the center console or above the visor, and all the receipts are in there. And so when I collect the receipts, they're not like in the like all over the place, and I can always find the receipts that I need for any job. And that was another simple Amazon purchase that has made a huge difference. And I did the same for our trucks and registration, our truck and trailer registration. Is every truck has one of those zippered pouches, and there's a copy of every trailer registration with every truck. And then of course I don't copy the truck registrations because it's only in one truck,
Yeah.
but they're all in a zippered pouch along with my business card and the state inspection. And so if something were to ever happen, it's easy for them to find. I make sure there's not a lot of junk in the what's that thing called where you stick the registration? What's that box called?
The
Glove
glove
box.
box. Yes,
Glove box, which is weird. Have you ever kept
yeah,
gloves in there?
it's true. I think
Have you ever
maybe when they
kept
first
gloves in there? Why is it called a glove box?
it's true. I've never
That's
put
such,
gloves in there.
I've never put gloves in there. That's where the registration goes. But so
Yeah.
that keeps everything organized as well. And then the following year, when I have to change out all the registrations, just go right into the little zipper pouch, and very simple, very easy. Things don't get lost. Just a place for everything and everything in its place. And tub of
One thing I
towels.
was kind of curious about with you, since you've come from the corporate world, did you take anything from that to apply to your landscape business for organization?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one, I use Outlook for email. A lot of people use Gmail and they get the Gmail business thing, but for me, Gmail was always personal email and Outlook was always business email. So I use Outlook and I use a lot of the Outlook tools, which is probably specific to me. But one of the biggest things that I took with me was using Dropbox for organizing folders. And so Microsoft has OneDrive, or there's Google Drive, kind of similar sort of thing, but it really just allows me to, no matter where I'm at, access any of my files. So they're not saved to my computer. If we're on a job site and there's a question about where the septic is or the utilities, I can just quick take a look at my Dropbox and get any of my folder, any of my files at any time. And so that was one of the biggest things I took from the corporate world, was just having my files organized and available to me no matter where I am.
Yeah. The other thing, I guess, benefit to it, I would add, just from our personal experience, is having them online is like an extra backup. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about having things backed up or something happens to your computer. Because actually, in our office, um, and it's been probably 5, 6 years ago, we actually had a small fire and made us think about like, what if something happened to that computer that has all this client's information and drawings and stuff? Like something goes wrong. we're screwed. So we started doing a backup. Then we started doing the Google Drive, and it's just, you don't have to worry about it there. As long as it's there, you're backed up. You're good.
Yeah. And, a vendor asks for some kind of tax document or something, you just attach it to the email and send it. It's not going back to your files and you're scanning it and sending a copy of it. Yeah, it's very important to, especially as the world just moves like faster and faster and faster, that you do need to be more flexible with how you're storing your data, how you're doing your work orders, how you're managing your business, right? Because the days of having that office where the your mom would go in to work and sit at her computer, and I'm sure once upon a time it was like sending faxes and
Yeah.
doing all these things, making photocopies and stuff that like you almost don't even need to do anymore. When was the last time you had to send a fax? Like, of course not. You just attach it to an email and you have e documents and e-signing, which I started doing a couple years ago. Adobe has an e-signature product. And so now all of my contracts are signed online.
Nice.
Just
Nice.
email it to the customer and then I get an electronic copy. They don't have to print it out, sign it, scan it, send it back to me, and then I print it out. Like, it's all just online, stored online, and it just makes everything just go faster. Makes my life
Yep.
easier for sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're aware, if you use QuickBooks, DocuSign, DocuSign integrates with it, so you can like have people sign directly from it if you send estimates out that way.
Oh,
That just so people are aware, but there's a fee for it. It's not that expensive, but it is
yeah.
integrated, so just streamline it all.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I didn't realize that. I also saw that they bought Mailchimp,
Yep. Yep.
the email
Yep.
thing, and
Yeah.
although I tried to sign up for the Mailchimp because I email my snowplow customers prior to a
Hmm.
storm, and there was one storm that the email, it was a downfall of Outlook. It wouldn't let me send the email from my phone and whatever. So I was like, well, I'll sign up for Mailchimp. And Mailchimp, the little thing said, "Oh, you already have an account." I said, okay. So I went and I said, I forgot my password and my login. And then it said, oh, you don't have an account. You have to sign up for an account. And so I went through this like a bunch of times until I finally reached out. They were like, oh, you did have an account at one point, but you didn't use it. So we just deactivated it. So you'd have to use a different email address if you want to. I was like, that is disappointing.
Interesting.
That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So
Well,
that was my recent MailChimp experience. I
yeah.
wanted to give it a go, and I
But
was just so frustrated. I was frustrated with that.
that stinks, because it is nice integration between the two QuickBooks and that. So you can have it, if you send out an invoice, you can have it automatically send a thing through Mailchimp. There's a lot of advantages to it. So
I know. Well, they said
it
that I could
stinks.
use it. Anyways, I was just
Yeah.
very frustrated. I won't. I won't get into
Yeah.
any more detail about that really boring story that everybody just tuned out right there. Stop the podcast right there when I started talking about Mailchimp.
One thing I was going to say, one thing that helped me just personally being organized was basically because I essentially lived out of my truck with doing estimates and just running around managing the jobs.
Yes.
I actually bought a desk that goes in my passenger seat,
Oh my God, I've
and I
always
can
wanted to
swing
do
my.
that.
It's awesome. I loved it because I had that. I had a printer, so I could print off stuff I had to send or give to the customer. I had a little drawer, so I could put not drawers, a little slot. I put all my books in there for
Yeah.
pictures of plants and all the stuff. So that was
Yeah.
that was a huge thing for me. They're available on Amazon. I don't remember the name of them, but it wasn't like the cheapest thing. It was like a couple $100, but it helped me so much. Everything was right there, so I could just go
Absolutely.
and swing my computer over. So there's a lot of things that we can all do to kind of streamline our business, and it's just out there and just reaching out and listening to podcasts like this to learn those little things that you don't even think about.
Oh, absolutely. I've learned so much from listening to the podcast. One thing we did a couple years ago during fall cleanup season, I started numbering our backpack blowers, which again, going back to who melted the arm on this backpack blower, or where is this backpack blower? And I will tell you, we never lost or broke another backpack blower after I started numbering them. So everyone had the same backpack blower, and they knew that if that backpack blower, that was their problem. They were going to have to be responsible for that. But one thing I heard on another podcast, and I've kind of tried this, but I haven't really, is color coding. So especially for guys who have multiple trailers, has, 2, 3, 4 mow crews going out, just, everything in this trailer is the green trailer and this is the blue trailer, and duct tape is amazing. Just wrap a piece of duct tape around everything. So, like if the blue rake is missing, hey, blue team, what happened to your rake? Or if the blue rake is in the green trailer, something is going on. And those guys, they take ownership. When you do that kind of assignment of tools with numbering and color coding, they do take ownership of that, because they know that if theirs is missing, then they have to be the ones to be like, oh, we lost a backpack blower. And, usually when that happens, they say, oh, it was his fault. It was his fault. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was everybody else. It wasn't me. But by assigning the tools and equipment to guys, it really cuts down on loss, theft, damage, repairs, maintenance, all the little time theft, or that's not what I mean. Little things that steal your time. As the business owner, the little things that end up stealing your time, that is easily preventable, and being organized, and it's different for everybody, right? Because not everybody's brain works the same way. And for some people, being organized is a real struggle. It's a real struggle to do that. But definitely starting with just making sure that all of your tools and equipment have a place, whether you're at the job or at the yard space or in your trailer. Make a spot for everything and make sure that everything goes back where it's supposed to go. Even if you I use duct tape for everything, Scott. I have duct tape everywhere. Like, that is my label maker. That is my repair kit. That is how I identify. I have hot pink duct tape. So all of my tools, all of my stuff, hot pink. Nobody touches them because they've got the hot pink on them. And they know that if it's, I even have my own green barrel, my own landscape barrel, hot pink tape wrapped around the whole thing. So everyone knows, don't you dare touch this green barrel. This is my green barrel. But
That's
doing
awesome.
stuff like that, I mean, I always know where my stuff is. I can always see my stuff. And I will say that even like the tape thing seems really silly, but having like a bright orange piece of tape wrapped around a rake and someone leaves it in the yard, it's pretty easy once, if you're done with the fall cleanup or spring cleanup and you're doing one walk around, make sure you have everything. You see that bright orange piece of tape on the ground, and it's much easier to spot, and again, help prevent losing a rake and then just driving to the Home Depot, buy another rake.
Yep. No, we did that same thing. We every truck had a certain color, every trailer had a certain color, and what we ended up doing too was outfitting every one of our trucks had 2 pointed shovels, 1 flat shovel, 1 broom, 1 landscape rake, every single truck. So they're all at least outfitted with that. That way you always have it. Everybody knew what color. We bought the little racks that go on inside the bed of the dump trucks or the trucks, or it just worked out perfect. You never had to worry about I didn't have a pointed shovel. I didn't have a flat shovel. Every truck has it.
Yes, absolutely. And they went in the same place every single time, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And that's it cuts down on time too. We were talking about this. Maybe it was on the podcast, or maybe it was before the podcast. Oh gosh. The leaving of tools at a job site or leaving it at a customer's house. Like, there was one year that our guys left a backpack blower at a fall cleanup, and no one could remember where it was. And we didn't realize right away, it's fall cleanup. Like, it's so, you're doing like 10 cleanups a day, and it's just chaos, right? I ended up finding it like 9 months later. Like the person who lived in the house had died. And I think the next door neighbor, I ended up like buying something from her off of like Facebook Marketplace. And there was just a recycle bin upside down randomly in the neighbor's yard and I know that the customer had passed, and so I went and I picked up the thing, and there's my backpack blower just sitting on the ground underneath an
Uh,
upside down recycle bin. Been sitting there in the middle of the yard for like 9 months, and I was like, guess what, everybody, I found it. I found the backpack blower, and of course it never worked the same again. It was like complete garbage. Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the year that I was like, we're putting numbers on these things, and you're all going to be responsible for your own backpack blower. We're not doing that again.
The one thing we did too that kind of helped with the fuel for equipment, especially a 2-cycle, we color coded. We would take the lids of everything 2-cycle and we painted it green. Our gas cans for 2-cycle were painted green, like the entire gas can. And then we bought a 50-gallon tank, and we had a mechanic, and their job was to make sure that green tank that stayed at the shop was full. So the guys would just come back at the end of the day or next day, fill off that green tank. So we didn't have the mixture ratio getting flawed and just causing the equipment to run like garbage. And we had a decrease in equipment putting the wrong gas in, because that we had, I can't remember now, it was either two or three saws in one summer go bad because people put straight gas in there. Like how can we do this? So we thought about that, and it worked great. So it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of thinking, sometimes out of the box, that you can find these little tips that help out a lot.
Yeah. And, sometimes, so we do the same with gas. So diesel, before we had a transfer tank, diesel was yellow cans. Straight gas was blue cans. And the red cans were the 50-to-1 mix.
Okay.
And I wrote on them, 50-to-1 mix. Use this in Red Max, Steel, Echo, 93 straight gas, mowers, Hurricane, Leaf Vac. Like I would write right on the can. But sometimes these ideas will just, like, they'll just come to me, like sometimes you just go to the yard space or you're looking at the shipping container and you're like, I wonder if we could get these like magnetic hooks. Maybe that would help in here or something like that, and of course, Amazon is such a great resource. Like you can find the most random stuff on there or the hardware store. There's a lot of times, the Rubbermaid totes, like I keep we have like a job trailer that we take to jobs, a couple trailers, but we always have grass seed and starter fertilizer in the job trailer because you need it at the end of the job. And it would spill, and I can't get into it, but I got one of those big, beefy, heavy duty Rubbermaid totes. And that is where the grass seed lives. Like for anyone who's doing drainage, we're India certified. So we do a ton of drainage work. Those elbows, all those little drainage fittings, they're everywhere. So I have just totes, just stacks and stacks of plastic totes. And I make sure I get the clear ones. I think that's really, really important because if it's clear, you can easily see what's inside of that plastic box. Whereas if it's the solid one, then, out of sight, out of mind, and probably whatever is in there is going to get repurchased because no one knows what's inside that box. So that's another thing that I've done is just putting everything into these Rubbermaid totes. It's much easier to move it around, much easier to know what you actually have and keep things organized, especially, if you're doing things like drainage or irrigation or, anything where you have just these little odds and ends, these little tidbits that you need, but you can't just have around all the time. Having little toolboxes, almost like little tackle boxes, for the trucks, like each truck has a little tackle box. In the winter for snow plowing, every truck has a little toolkit with an adjustable wrench, one hydraulic line, one bottle of hydraulic fluid, windshield washer fluid, just like a couple little things, not everything, just the things that will help them get back on the road if
Mhm.
they blow a hydraulic line, which is other than or going into a ditch. So every truck has a chain too. So those are the
There you
things, right? They either drove into a ditch or they blew a hydraulic line. So they all have chains and a hydraulic line and hydraulic fluid if that happens. And just putting it in a little box. Michael's craft store is actually a great place to go to for those little kind of organizational boxes because of, like crafters with the beads and the sewing and stuff. So I've actually found
go.
some really great boxes there. They actually, this is
Nice.
so silly. I'm like mortified that this is like on your podcast, God. I can't believe I'm saying.
That's
I
no,
spent,
it's good.
I went to Michael's and they have this one like flip top storage box that fits perfectly between the seats of an 3500 standard cab, and I put a whole bunch of things that I want to keep dry during snowstorms, which includes like microfiber cloths, backup hat, backup gloves, um, umbrella in case you blow a hydraulic line, keep it dry, and it fits perfectly in between the two seats. And then I put my lunchbox on top of it, so it's like at the perfect height, and nothing falls between the seats. I am so embarrassed that I just said that to everybody. Yeah, I
No,
spent a
that's
lot of
perfect.
time at Michael's trying to find the perfect sized storage box that fit between the seats of a 3500 standard cab.
Nice. We're going to see a bunch of landscapers lined up at Michael's now. They're like, "What's
Michael's.
going on?"
And if you go to Michael's, be sure and check the app. There's always coupons, so got it.
There you go.
Saving money too, saving time, saving money by going to Michael's craft shop.
There you go. So the other last thing I kind of want to talk about is there anything that you could think of as far as being organized with using the EZBZ app? Like I know the
Yeah.
work orders. This is something like I stress all the time to everybody. The crews have to know what goes in the job, what's going
Yes.
on, time, all that stuff. I know
Yeah.
this is something that EZBZ is, one of the main points of having it. So you mind elaborating a little bit more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the way EZBZ came to be, and I won't go into the whole backstory of it, was at the time that I created EZBZ, we had multiple crews growing. We were very much in a growing phase of the business, and our yard space was not the same as our house where we lived. And my office was on the third floor. And so I would do everything on paper and I'd print it out, go downstairs, put it on clipboards with a pen tied to it, and then take it over to the yard, put it in the trucks. And if there was a mistake, I'd have to go back and make a change, reprint it, or try and find the crew or communicate with the crew. And I was just losing so much time to doing something that I knew could just easily be done on the phone. And since I couldn't find the solution for that, that's how EZBZ was born. And we still use it. We sold the lawn mowing business a couple years ago, and we're only doing construction, landscape construction now, and we still use it all the time. And it's got an archive. Thinking back to, it's not funny that your office caught on fire, but there was a lot of kindling in there from all of your mom's paperwork orders.
Yep.
Cutting back on those things. Or we just had some snow here in New England this weekend, and customer says, "Oh, no one's come to plow my driveway yet." Well, I can just look right on my phone. I'm like, actually, yeah, it says here that he was there at 4:30 in the morning. I have all that information. The reporting, being able to find out which jobs were done for billing, which service items were completed for billing, how much time is being spent on jobs helps with, I know that with your academy, you work on this all the time, is being able to know your numbers, like being able to pull that information and knowing actually how much time is spent on a job is huge, right? And so with EZBC, they check into the job, check out of the job, and then they can pull the report to see how much time was spent on the job. And this is also really great if you, one, want to know if a job was profitable and how much time was spent on it, but two, to know where your pricing is for either contract customers or just for your regular lawn mowing customers, that If it's taking 3 man-hours to mow a lawn that you're only charging like $85 for, you either got to get rid of that customer or really raise that price, right? So having that information is super important, and just being able to just have it on your phone from wherever you're working, because like you've got like a little mini office in your truck, right? Like I needed something that could work wherever I was working, because I'm not always at my desk. Like I'm out in the field, I'm working with the crews, I'm working with James, I'm going out to talk to customers, and having all of that information available all the time is huge, and it cuts down on the paper, cuts down on the paperwork, it cuts down on just the time in general that you're spending to do something that's super important but doesn't have to be complicated and really doesn't have to be time consuming. And there's nothing better than saving time. Like being able to save time is like one of my favorite things in the world. Just little life hacks to get that time back. And sometimes in this business, it feels like you're just wasting a whole bunch of time away. Every time you drive to Home Depot to buy buy a new rake for one that broke, you're like, I will never get this time back. There's so many other things I could be doing. And
Yep.
that really was one of the goals of EZBZ is just to be able to get some of that time back, and it's not going to help you lose 100 pounds. Your hair is not going to grow back. You're not going to, people aren't going to like you better, but it is going to save you a bunch of time, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. And especially now with the time clock, that the cost savings of that is huge.
Yeah.
A lot
No,
of us.
I love that part of it. And I love the fact that you can kind of look at your numbers. This is something I see people don't do a lot. They just keep working and working and working, and they don't go back to look and see how long it actually took and to see if they need to do more training or something, what happened. You can't improve your estimating in the future if you don't look at all these numbers. So
Absolutely.
having something like EasyBeasy that calculates up for you, why would you not use that? And it just
Absolutely.
makes it that easy.
And especially, for guys just starting out, if you're, the normal transition is you start with lawn mowing and you kind of move into construction. And as you're learning that, you're going to get the estimating wrong. You're going to get the numbers wrong, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. But after you've gone through a couple jobs, to be able to go back and say, okay, I thought it was only going to take 3 days to do that job. It actually took 5 days to do that job. And you can do like a debrief with yourself or with your crew of like, how did I get those numbers wrong? Or were we not efficient on the job? Or did we lose half a day because I had to drive to the Home Depot because someone drove over the rake
Yep.
again? But yeah, knowing the numbers helps with profitability, helps with time savings, and the it has the built-in GPS, so they can navigate to the next job, and that cuts down on windshield time as well, and cuts down on paper, and they're not putting in the numbers, the house numbers wrong, or putting in the wrong street, or going to the wrong place, or what have you. So it's a lot. It's a really powerful but really simple tool for
It
any
is.
field-based service business. And it doesn't have to be lawn mowing. I have EZBZ customers that are just straight landscape construction, have never touched a lawnmower. Like all they do is landscape construction, and they love it because it's just a simple way for them to be able to provide the information that the crew needs every day to go out and generate revenue. And that's why we're doing this, right?
Yep. Yep. No, I love it. I love it. It is a great piece of software, everybody. I encourage you to go check it out. And Shannon, I love that you shared all these tips, especially about going to Michael's. Like I said, there's gonna be a line of landscapers at Michael's stores
I
now.
know.
But
Oh, the organizational stuff you can find at Michael's, like really, and multicolored duct tape. That's my
there you
label
go.
maker. That's my label
There
maker.
you go. But Shannon, no, I appreciate you hopping on the show today and sharing all this great information. everybody out there listening, go check out EZBZ. It's a very simple app. Like I said, it's something that we use in our landscape business. I encourage you to take advantage of it and sign up for the gold package. You'll enjoy all the time clocks and all the features into it.
And I also forgot to say, you get to try it free for 30 days. So you
There
get
you
to
go.
try the gold package free for 30 days. No commitment, no, if you don't want to keep doing it, you don't have to. If you want to downgrade to one of the free package, like absolutely you can do that too. So free 30 days to try it out and
Okay.
give it a shot.
There you go. Shannon, where can people go to find out more about EZBZ?
The website is EZBZ.app. EZBZ.app.
Yeah, it's very simple, guys. Very simple.
Yeah. I couldn't make it any more simple than what it is.
But no, again, thank you, Shannon, and thank you for sharing all those great tips. Anything you want to add about anything that we discussed, or EZBZ?
I have one more organizational tip.
There you go.
If you have a yard space, your trailers, anything that you need locked up, you can actually buy bulk packs of padlocks that all have the same key. So it cuts down on having all different keys and stuff. I just learned that one last year, and that was like life-changing. I had like a box of like padlocks that everything had a different, I was like a janitor, with all my different keys and like trying every key. And now all the padlocks have the same keys.
There you go. It's all about
That was
saving times.
that was one of my favorite ones from last year, was getting new padlocks and
Nice.
tub
I love
towels, of
it.
course.
It's the simple things. It really is.
It is. And sometimes it's the simple things that make the biggest difference.
It is. It is. All right, Shannon, you got a time for a few quick fun questions?
Sure.
All
I
right.
love fun.
What is the first impression you want to give to people?
The first impression that I want to give to people is generally just an impression of positivity and warmth, because I do believe that the world is a mirror, and what we put out into the world is what we're going to get back from the world. And it costs $0 to be nice. So might as well just put it out there and see what happens.
I love it. I love it. All right. What is the nicest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
The nicest thing a stranger has ever done
It
for
could be a
me.
customer.
So we have this one property. It's a multi-building apartment complex, and I have some big fans there. I have a lot of people that are big fans there, and there's one woman that knits, and she keeps giving me pot holders. She knits pot, like the little like kind that you would make in school. And so I have this whole collection of like little knitted pot holders. And so she also works at TJ Maxx, the local TJ Maxx. And I was telling her at one point this winter about how I couldn't find any winter socks at any of the TJ Maxx. They'd already moved on to the spring and bathing suits and stuff. And she got me a pair of like fleece socks. And I thought that was just the nicest thing, because she didn't have to do that. I was essentially just making small talk. But yeah, she keeps giving me knitted pot holders and socks.
I love it.
I think it's really nice when customers offer food
Hmm.
and drink.
Yep.
One time someone offered us soup while we were snow plowing, and I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." But standard cap. Where am I going to put this big
Yeah.
thing of soup? And then when I wasn't paying attention, James accepted it, and I had to carry around like a big thing of soup for the rest of the storm. I was like, why? Why did you take this soup? What are we supposed to do with this for the rest of the day? And it was good soup, and I didn't want to throw it away. So I just carried around this thing of soup. Yeah.
Imagine sloshing around in the truck.
I was
Nice.
like, did you ask for a spoon? And he was like, no. I was like, so we can't eat it. We can't do anything with it. But I always think it's nice when customers offer anything, just as like a thank you or just a nice gesture, because they don't have to do that, and we appreciate it. So yeah, knitted pot holders.
Nice. All right, last one. What do you try to avoid at all costs?
Oh gosh. Uh, Talking to my employees. No, 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 no. That's impossible. Um, I really believe a stitch in time saves nine. I really hate wasting time. Like that really is one of my biggest pet peeves. And so I am the kind of person that will put in extra effort before a project, um, before we even like put one shovel in the ground, doing a full walkthrough of the job, not assuming that anybody knows what I'm talking about or anything about the job, because making sure we have all the materials for the job, all the equipment that we need for the job, because I hate wasting time. So it's just really important to me to stitch in time saves nine, put in the extra effort beforehand and just make the money without having to drive to the Home Depot to replace a broken or
It sounds
missing
like you
brake
may have done that a couple times.
a couple of times. Well, the worst is when you're on a job that's closer to a hardware store or Home Depot than your yard space. And you're like, well, we do have this at the yard space, but the hardware store is only 10 minutes away and the yard space is a half hour away. So what's more valuable, my time? And then you end up buying another rake instead of driving.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. I hate wasting time. Wasting time is my biggest pet peeve.
That's that's why I wanted to have you on the show today, because you're an amazing person that has all these tips and stuff. So thank you again for being on the show today, Shannon.
Well, thanks for
It's
having
been
me,
good.
Scott. I always have fun when
It's,
I come on the show. It's always
yeah,
it's always good to chit chat with you and catch up and
yeah,
I love talking landscaping. So
yeah,
it's a tough life, but it's a pretty great community with
yeah.
people.
We may have to have another double date. Have James on, and I'll have
Yeah.
Katie on. We'll chat again about some
Oh,
things.
definitely, definitely. We'll catch up on all the ways that you and James have made me and Katie cry in the in the last couple of years. All the times that you've
I,
snapped at us and we're like, don't snap at me.
never, never, never.
Never, never. No, of course not. Of course not. But yeah.
All right.
So EZBZ.app is the website for EZBZ. And I'm not hard to find. If anyone
Yep.
has questions, very easy to reach out and just ask questions for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody go check out. Like I said, it's an amazing app we use. I can't say it enough. It's just very simple. That's the nicest thing about it. And it just works. So go check it
Absolutely.
out.
Yes.
All right, Shannon. Well, thank you again. We'll be talking to you soon. Have a great
All
one.
right. Bye, Scott. Have a great day.